Today, we do something different. Not a list of foods to avoid, not don't eat that without telling you why, because I always work better when I understand the mechanism, when I can visualize what is actually happening inside my body, and I think you do too. So I simplified. I took the complex world of food after menopause and grouped everything into 3 colors: traffic lights, red, yellow, green. Red, system interrupt, wang, foods that are actively working against your menopausal body at the mechanism level. Yellow, foods that modern life has normalized in quantities your body was never designed to handle. Not poison, not forbidden, but overcorrected. Green, foods that speak your body's new language. Today, red. Refined sugar, the most obvious one, but also the most misunderstood, because most people think sugar is bad because it makes you fat. That is the surface. Here's what is actually happening underneath. When refined sugar enters your liver, it triggers the immediate release of inflammatory molecules. At the same time, sugar damages the gut wall lining. The gut wall is a barrier, a carefully maintained border between the contents of your intestine and your bloodstream. When that wall is intact, bacteria, toxins, and undigested food particles stay where they belong. Repeated sugar consumption weakens that barrier. The tight junction between intestinal cells start to loosen. Foreign particles slip through. Your immune system detects them and fires. The glitch intensifies. Inflammation rises, and inflammation is the engine behind almost every symptom you are experiencing after menopause. And then there's something else: AGEs, advanced glycation and products. When blood sugar spikes repeatedly, sugar molecules attach themselves to proteins and fats in your body. They bind together and form these toxic compounds, AGEs. They damage cells. They stiffen collagen, which is why repeated sugar consumption accelerates skin aging. They inflame blood vessels walls. They drive oxidative stress. And here's the part that connects directly to menopause. After estrogen drops, your body's ability to manage blood sugar is already compromised. Insulin resistance is already elevated. Every blood sugar spike hits harder than it did at 35. Every AGE formation happens faster. Every inflammatory signal lands in a system that is already inflamed. This is why you eat the exact same thing or even slightly better than in your 30s, and your body is behaving differently. For years, I thought there was something else, something bigger. I did have other things, but for most people, just menopause or perimenopause is enough. Now, one more thing about sugar that the food industry does not want you to notice. Sugar has many passports. When you read an ingredient label and you do not see the word sugar, do not assume it is not there. The industry has given it different identities to slip past your attention, like spies using different names to cross the same border. They have been rejected. High fructose corn syrup, dextrose, maltose, maltodextrin, agave nectar, fruit juice concentrate, evaporated cane juice, rice syrup, and so many more different names for the same thing. They are all from the same gang, so watch out. Next, refined flour. This one carries the illusion of being neutral. Bread, pasta, crackers, rice cakes, they do not taste sweet, so we assume they are not doing what sugar does. But they are. Strip away the science. Refined flour is absorbed almost identically to refined sugar in your bloodstream. The fiber has been stripped out. The gain has been pulverized into fine particles that your digestive system breaks down almost instantly. Blood sugar spikes. Insulin follows. AGEs form. The gut wall takes the same hit. The only difference between a portion of pasta and a portion of sugar is the speed of absorption. And after menopause, with insulin resistance already elevated, that difference is smaller than you think. Processed seed oils, sunflower oil, corn oil, soybean oil, canola oil, the oils that fill the shelves of every supermarket, the oils that replace butter, when we were told fat was the enemy. Here's the mechanism. These oils are extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids. Omega-6 is not inherently bad. Your body needs some of it. The problem is the ratio. Historically, humans ate roughly equal amounts of omega-3 and omega-6. Today, the average Western diet has a ratio of 15:1 or even 20:1 in favor of omega-6. That imbalance alone drives chronic inflammation. But there's something worse. These oils are chemically unstable under heat, which is how almost all cooking happens. They oxidize. Oxidized fats create toxic byproducts that directly raise inflammation markers. They damage cell membranes. They have been linked to cardiovascular disease and neurological damage. One more thing, because you do not use these seed oils does not mean you are free. Don't forget about what you order. Just because you don't cook it yourself, you don't see it with your own eyes does not mean you are safe. Next time you order fried chicken, fried anything, or buy a box of donuts, just think about that. Chemical additives. This is the one that most food conversation skips because it is harder to see. There is no spike on a glucose monitor, no immediate reaction. The damage is slower, quieter, and for that reason, more dangerous. Glitch detected. Your gut contains approximately 38 trillion bacteria, a vast ecosystem of microorganisms that regulate almost everything: your immune response, your hormone metabolism, your inflammatory signals, your mood, your cognitive function. This ecosystem is called the microbiome, and it is extraordinarily sensitive to what you feed it. Certain emulsifiers used in almost every processed food to improve texture and shelf life has been shown in studies to degrade the mucus layer that protects your gut wall, the same gut wall that refined sugar was already weakening. The two work together. The additive removes the protection. The sugar exploits the opening. Artificial sweeteners, aspartame, sucralose, saccharin, alter the composition of gut bacteria. Studies show they reduce the population of beneficial bacteria and allow harmful strains to proliferate. The result? A gut environment that produces more inflammatory signals, not fewer. And processed meats, ham, sausage, bacon, delicates contain nitrates, chemical preservatives used to extend shelf life. Nitrates react with proteins in your body and triggers their own inflammatory response, something added to make the product last longer at a cost your body pays. And here's the part they buried. Your gut microbiome is directly involved in the estrogen metabolism. There is a collection of gut bacteria called the estrobolome, specifically responsive for metabolizing and recycling estrogen. When the microbiome is disrupted, estrogen metabolism is disrupted in a body that is already producing less estrogen after menopause. Disrupting the system that manages what little estrogen remains is not a small thing. Chemical additives are not just a gut problem, they are a hormone problem. They are feeding the glitch. They are keeping the squatter in place. And for women after menopause, that connection is everything. The 4 triggers we just covered are enough to explain that shift. And then there is one more thing. Alcohol. Your liver processes alcohol as a priority toxin. While it is dealing with alcohol, fat metabolism stops. Not slows, stops completely. And alcohol directly raises cortisol, code red, which actively promotes visceral fat storage, the squatter's best friend. You might not feel the difference when you were young, but eventually you will after your body's hormonal language changes. I'm unlucky or lucky depending on your perspective. I have so little enzyme alcohol dehydrogenase. This is genetic. This runs in our family. I literally feel sick after having a little bit of alcohol because my body cannot break the toxin and my whole body becomes so red that once someone sitting on the other table came to me to ask whether I was okay. So alcohol, 1 glass occasionally, your body handles it. Daily, it is working against everything else you are doing. 4 triggers plus alcohol, not opinions, not trends, biology. This is not about perfection. It is about understanding what these foods are doing so that when you choose them, you are choosing consciously. Not because someone told you not to, because you understand the conversation they are starting inside your body. There is yellow zone, a green zone, a dedicated episode on your thyroid, and an episode on insulin tricks that change how your body processes every meal. All of it carefully sequenced, all of it coming. If you want to know why menopause relocates fat to your belly, it's not your fault. Watch this episode. In case you want to know the full routine, how I lost my belly fat, watch this episode. One wire fixed, more to rewire. Body Rewired. This is not it, it's miswired, and we're fixing that together.